Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd House, my friends at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host, Mikey. Today we're going to do this turtleneck that is inside of a jacket. So when you look at it without the jacket on, it looks like this. So I designed this to keep the coolness off my neck, my shoulders, my chest, and also my back. And so you'll just put your coat in over top of this, and so then you can keep yourself nice and toasty. For this particular pattern, you'll need 2 balls of Bernat Symphony yarn and a 6.5mm size K crochet hook. Now my hook is pretty rough looking, but I'm a crocheter and that's what I do. So maybe I'm go easier on this thing. So what we like to do is get ourselves started, and what we have is that we're going to start off with this front panel first. And the panel, the way that it's going to work, as you'll notice, is that it will mesh into each other. So you'll have a solid piece, and then you'll have these strips that will just weave in and out of the one side. And that's happening here on the front. So once we get this done, then the back of this, which is the other side of there, will be favored then to be able to do the seam line, or sorry, to do the finishing. So once you weave these things through, the end pieces of this, when we do the final edge, it's going to go into the final edge to hold those weaving spots into position, and then we're going to do the collar. So those will be added right to the project itself, so there's no sewing as far as like putting things together. So let's get this done, and let's show you a diagram that I've worked with. So this is my diagram. It took me several tries to be able to get this design to go. And what we need to do first is that we need to create 12-inch long pieces that are our stitch marker. So just grab a spare piece of yarn, snip it, and make 5 of those. And what we're going to do is that we're going to position them on the corners so that you can easily see them. We're also going to position it right here on the edge, so that when you do these strips that will then be woven into these keyholes over here, you'll be able to see the end of this very easily, so you don't have to count so much. And then also I want you to put then a stitch marker through this final keyhole so that you can see it. With this yarn being variegated in the coloring, it's not always easy to see, and I found myself is that I can speed my way through this thing. So we're going to start with our beginning to go, and let's get our stitch markers ready. Let's grab our hook and let's grab our yarn, and let's begin. So let's begin and start with the chain, and you need to chain 103. So don't worry about the stitch markers in the first chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go all the way to 103 for me, and meet me back here in a moment. So keep your stitch markers relatively close, as round or row number 1, we're going to start the magic. So we're going to start, and this side will be the keyhole side, and the other side will be the strips that will go into these keyholes that you'll see in the future. So as we begin, we're going to go second chain from the hook. So 1 and 2, get the back hump of the chain, it'll look nicer, and you were going to single crochet. So there's 11 keyholes, so just chain 1, skip the next chain, and go to the second one over, and say to yourself, that's 1 keyhole. Okay, so you need 11 of these. So chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the other next. So there's your second keyhole. So chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next, and keep doing that until you can count 11 of those keyholes. Okay, just make sure you chain 1 in between those to keep the space open. So I'm just doing a whack of these, meaning in my definition of just many, and then once I think I have enough, I'll just count, and if I have too many, I can just frog some, and if I don't have enough, of course I can add more. So let's count how many keyholes there are. So you can pull it open, you can use your fingers, they'll sink down in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 keyholes so far. So chain 1, skip 1, so that's 10, chain 1, skip 1, and this should be the 11th. So make sure we can count that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Once you have that, this single crochet that formed this last keyhole is considered one of 17. So before you move any further, the last keyhole, which is the 11th one, get your stitch marker and place it through the keyhole so you can see it in the future. So whenever you see this stitch marker, you can say to yourself, okay, the keyholes are starting here at this position. So we're going to get ourselves to the first corner. So this single crochet to form this last keyhole is considered one of 17. So continue to move down the chain and count to 17. So this is considered 1, and we do the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So there should now be 17 single crochets from this last keyhole right here. So there should be 17. And so now the next one is going to be the first corner. So single crochet, chain 2, and this is my tip for you. Grab another stitch marker and place it in between and hold it like there. And single crochet back into the same one. And now that stitch marker is in the chain 2 corner. Now, there's now going to be 20 single crochets in a row. So don't include this last one from the corner, and let's do 20. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So once you have these 20 here, the next one is considered the very back of the project. So the next one is going to be 1 single crochet, chain 2, and get another stitch marker and place it in position. You can either do it right after, or I just do it as I go. So I just go right over it so that you don't ever miss it. And so now there's going to be another 20 in a row. So don't include this corner. So start fresh again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Once you have there, you have another corner happening. And so the next one will be 1 single crochet, chain 2, place in your stitch marker again to indicate a corner. You'll thank yourself if you use these stitch markers. I cannot emphasize that enough. And single crochet back into the same one to complete the corner. And now you should have the final 20 that are left, but we'll count them anyway. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. This is not the end of row number 1, by the way, so just don't push pause yet. So what you're going to do is grab a stitch marker and put it into the top of the last one, because row number 1 continues along, just for making it easier to write this pattern. So now at this point, you're going to chain 32. We're going to create a strip that will weave into the other piece. So to do that, we're going to chain a total of 32. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So put me on pause if you're not ready. And for those that are ready, you're going to go second chain from the hook. So count back and get the back hump of the chain and just slip stitch yourself back to where that stitch marker is. So to the chain just before the stitch marker. So you don't need to count these going backwards. You just use the chain and use the back hump of every one of the chains to get yourself back. So when we get back to that moment, that will be technically the end of row number 1. I kind of had to do some research on how the best way to write this pattern is, and I determined that this here should be the ending of a row, not the beginning. So this strip will go through the keyholes. So there's 11 keyholes in a row. And so as we build out the thickness of the pattern, these are going to go into the keyholes as we go. Now, because this yarn is variegated in the way that it looks, the interwoven area on the front of the project looks amazing. So these strips can be different variations of color, which creates the look on the front. So row number 1 will stop just before the stitch marker. So we're going to get one more right here. And the best way to do it is just flip like this. And so this is the stitch marker then to tell you that this is the beginning of the next row. So we're going to now move on to row number 2 from this point forward. So row number 2, every time you complete it, it's really quite easy. And so you start in the stitch marker 1 first, and you just single crochet yourself in every one of the stitches except for the corners. And I'll get to a corner in just a moment. And what we are going to eventually look for as we get further along on this row is that we're going to be looking for the keyhole stitch marker, but we have to get by a few corners before we get there. So you don't hear me counting because I'm using stitch markers to indicate where I need to be. So the pattern will be written in that way as well, so that you can just enjoy the journey and look for the obvious signs of when you need to do something different. And if you can identify the corners and don't need stitch markers, by all means, go at it. So I'm going into the last stitch before the corner. So here's the corner, it's showing me this. So in the corner, the chain 2 space, you are going to single crochet, chain 2, and don't pull it out of this hole, just move it up and then single crochet there to keep that position of the corner. So then you move on to starting there and you go along, and every time you hit a corner, you're going to do the same thing. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just put me on pause now, and I'm going to get myself until I can see the keyhole that will come up here. So every time you hit a corner, just single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and make sure you move up those stitch markers as you go to make your life a lot easier. And I'll be right back in a second. So I turn the final corner here, and this is the long stretch. So I have a solid piece here, and then I have the keyholes here. So this here is indicating the keyhole starts. So I'm just going to continue to single crochet across. So if there is a keyhole, chain 1 space, just fill in the space with a single crochet. Okay, so we're only creating the keyholes every other row. So here is, oh, we got one more to go. So here is the keyhole. You can see the first one, and so you're just going to fill that in and then single crochet the next stitch and then fill in the next keyhole, and this will help separate those keyholes from each other to create the weaving effect. So you're just going to blaze your way all the way down through the ending of this. Okay, and I'm just filling those spots in. So I got the last keyhole, and then I go into the last stitch. And that is going to be row number 2. So rows number 2 and 3 get repeated over several times. So let's turn our work and do number 3 next. So I've already shown you row number 1, so it's very similar to it. And we're going to create the keyholes to start. There's a total of 11 of those. So when we start this, we're going to chain up 1 and single crochet the first. Okay, we chain 1, we skip the next one, and we single crochet the next. So we just created 1 keyhole. So we just keep doing that. So just chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet the next. And the reason why I put that stitch marker in is that I want to indicate where I can stop without having to excessively count. So you can continue to watch TV or chat with your friends. So I tried to design this project for my Alaska retreat so that people can at least talk to each other during the retreat and not be so focused on the counting. So I can see that it's coming up soon. And the keyholes line up over top of each other. So just chain 1, skip 1, and there should be technically 11 keyholes now from here. So let's just quickly count that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So once that 11 is confirmed, just move the stitch marker up to the last keyhole that you made. Don't pull it all the way through the project, just pull it so it just holds so you can see it in the future. And now you're going to continue to blaze your way across this row. And when you hit the first corner, in all corners, you're just going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and you'll move up the stitch marker. So I'll get you to the first corner to make sure that you get that. And then I'll meet you at the end of the other side where we will create another strip before this row finishes. So here's the next corner. I can see it with the stitch marker, but it's kind of obvious too. So single crochet, chain 2, move the stitch marker up in between the space. So I leave the stitch markers just in the resting area, just kind of holding it. Single crochet in, and then start again of another side of your project here. So I want you to go all the way across, and then I'll meet you at the end of the line, and I'll show you that we have to create another strip too before this row number 3 is complete. So I'm getting close to the end. This is the strip. We can easily see that. So we're going to come into the last one here and move up that stitch marker so we can see that in the future. So just pull it through. So when you finish the strip, the stitch marker will indicate that it's the next row. So continuing along with this row, you're going to chain 32. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Once you have your 32 in there, you're going to go second chain from the hook and slip stitch yourself back. So we're getting ourselves back to the chain just before the stitch marker. And this will indicate the end of this row. Now the bumps and stuff in this yarn, because it's a roving yarn, I don't mind it so much. So I'm not flipping out about it. See, the roving kind of just blends itself in. So I don't need to count going backward. I'm just filling in all of the back humps of the chain with a slip stitch. So it took me several tries to get this, the length of this to be proper so that it's not too sloppy, but it's also got some hold on it on the front side of the project. So I tried different lengths to make that work. Okay, so I'm just looking for the stitch marker, which is coming up soon. Okay, and go into the last one. And then just turn your whole project around. And so your stitch marker is sitting in the first stitch here, and this will indicate, so what you're going to do is you're going to repeat 2 and 3, and so there's a total count of 11 of these here. So I want you to keep moving and just do rows number 2 and 3 until you can count 11 of these, and just put me on pause, and next time you come back to my video, we'll be ready to move on in the process. So please do rows number 2 and 3 next. Last time I left you down here, and so you would have repeated this so that you can see 11 of these strips. So I just finished the 11th one and I've slip stitched across, and now we're just going to repeat rows number 2, and row number 2 will take us all the way to the other side, and therefore the main cowl of this is done. So all you're just going to do then is just to start, you don't need to move up any stitch markers from this point, and just be able to place one single crochet in each of the stitches. Your corners will be one single crochet, chain 2, one single crochet, and make sure that you do fill in those keyholes that are in on the other side when you get there. And just to clarify, when I get back onto the other side here on the end of row number 2, the keyholes are the chain 1 space, so they just put one single crochet in each one of those. I'm not sure if I called those keyholes in the previous clips. So just go right to the end, do not fasten off, and see me there in a second. At the end of number 2, I'm just going to pull up a large loop, let it hold. I'm looking at the wrong side of the project right now because this is the end of number 2. So I want to be able to switch this around in just a moment. Any loose ends that you do have from any tails, I want you to weave those in so they're out of the way so that you can progress with that. Let me show you a quick way to do it. So just any loose ends, I had to switch over to the ball mid at the end, well, close to the end of this last section. So just take it and just weave it through the same color. So this here is the wrong side of the work, so I'm going to favor this side because it'll be the side that faces the chest of your body. Just weave it through, and don't be afraid, and I highly recommend, is to break apart the fibers as well so that it really gets stuck. And anybody that knows this yarn, trying to unweave this yarn is really quite tough to do. So make sure you get it really good stuck, and do that with any of the loose ends, including the starting tail, and I'll be right back in a moment. So let's turn the project in the orientation that you need. So right where I am is the wrong side, so I'm going to flip it over, and it's like the crochet stitch diagram, is that the keyholes were on this side. If you're right-handed, it was on the right, and if you're left, it will be on the left. And so I want to now switch it around so that This is the orientation. And then what I want to do is start weaving it through the keyholes. And if you pull it apart, you'll see those keyholes happening. So let's begin to do the weaving process. If you pull this apart, you'll see all the keyholes and they line up completely down the one side. So I had you put in a stitch marker in the first keyhole so you can see it, and making sure that this is not twisted in any weird way is that you're going to take the first one here and you were going to go up and over the edge for the first one. So just go over the edge for the first, and what I'm going to do is make sure that this is not twisting in a weird way, and then just use your fingers and push it through the next keyhole down. Okay, that pops up. Okay, your fingers should be able to push that through, and so you can pull that together, and this will pull the whole thing into alignment like that. Okay, so then you're just going to weave up and down throughout the whole thing all the way across. So I'm just coming across on my first strip. So the first strip here goes down underneath, and it will just let it rest and let it hold. And we can adjust these later, but don't over pull that. So then you do your next one. So the next one then started under, so it came underneath the ridge and then over, so it's completely opposite. So when you get to the other side here, it ends up being interwoven. So I need you to move all the way down your strips. There's only 11 of them, and just let them hold on the edge like this, and when we single crochet around, we're going to secure those into position so we don't have to sew that either. So move all the way down your strips and have some fun with that, and I'll be right back in a moment. Okay, now that you're woven in, I'm not going to worry about any gapping space here because we're going to adjust this stuff. So what you can do later after we get everything settled is that you can go underneath the cross strip and just kind of pull it up if it's not looking the right as the other. So you can just go through and just adjust that later, but I wouldn't worry about that now. So you're looking at the right side of the project right now, which is where we want to start, and we're right here on the corner. And so what we want to do is go all the way around, and we want to secure these in. So I'm going to start here intentionally so we can secure those in so they won't fall out, so you can do the rest of the round. Let's begin the first round of going around the edge. So let's place our hook back in that loop that we pulled. And so we want to start off with the corner. So we're right in the corner right now. So I want to just place in, don't chain one first, just place in 3 single crochet in that corner, and that will allow it to turn. So now I want to work along this side edge. You can see all the stitch work. And so when you go through the next one, you know that every other stitch is the strip. So when you go through, you want to grab the strip that this one happens to be on the back. So you're going to go through the strip as well. This is very much like Jacob's ladder concept. And then you're just going to single crochet that into position. So we know the next stitch is nothing, and so it's just itself. And so this one we push it back. Make sure that there's no weird twists in your project, and just go through the tip of the strip. Take your time, and then through the stitch of the side and single crochet those in. Okay, so the next one's on its own and the next one's on the back. So I want you to go all the way around with this, and on the corners you're just going to place in 3 single crochet in the corner, and I will see you back here at the end of this section as I come back around. So just secure these in and then just keep moving around. I'll be right back in a moment. So I'm coming around the edge. I still have this to do before I hit the final corner where we started. So see the distance of the stitches on the top? We want to match that because there's really no stitch work to go into. So we're just going to continue. You see that there's a gap between the join here. Do not worry about that stuff yet. So you're just going to match the stitch work towards the same distance of the stitches that you see over here. Okay, and we're going to single crochet that stuff together. So it's just a rough guess, really. Just make it look good as you're coming around, and then get yourself to the corner, and I'll be right back in a moment. So I'm going to get all the way back to the corner and the way that I started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a technique of being able to finish this better. And so we're going to trim the yarn a little bit. And I have not slip stitched to the beginning, so I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to put it through a tapestry needle. So I normally do this on invisible joins. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, single crochet from the back to the front, and see where this is coming out of. I want to go down through where that's coming out of. And this is going to create a faux stitch that looks done. That pretty cool? So then I'm going to turn it to the back side and I'm going to secure it in to the back. So don't go to the good side of the project to be able to sew this stuff in. And again, if you separate those fibers, you're going to have a better time of this not falling out on you. If you want to tie a knot, you can. It's on the back. So I'm going to go back and forth 4 times because this will be on the chest. Then we can safely trim. So we're going to be moving on to the neck area in just a moment. And this here is then the front. And I will do the final adjustments of this when I get there at the end of the project. We're now going to move on to the neckline, and we want to start second stitch over from the corner. So here's the corner, there's the first, there's the second. So we're going to do it the right side's facing up, so we're going to have to rotate this. We need to put 3 single crochet together on the corners, and so you'll have a middle and then 2, and we'll put those together to bring those together a little tighter. Here, because they're not joined, you're just going to push them together, and then you were just going to use the first one, the next one, and then the first one on this side to be able to pull that together as a 3 together single crochet. The count really is not important, except for that you need an even number count when you go around. So if you have like an extra number, so if it's an odd number, just do a 2 together single crochet somewhere closer to the back of this and get yourself to an even number, but don't put in an extra stitch because the whole point of reducing is to get the neckline to kind of form to your neck. Let's turn our work, and we're going to keep the right side facing up. And you're going to notice the rest of this is pretty simple. So you're going to go there, and you're going to grab your hook and your yarn. Let's just attach it here. So I'm just looking for where the corners are. Okay, so here's my corner. So here's the first stitch out. I want the second. So we're just going to put this onto the hook, and you can join it there. And you can chain 1 and do 1 single crochet in. So because this is spanning over 3 stitches and it's a corner, I'm going to put a 3 together single crochet. So I'm going to go in, yarn over, pull through, going into the corner one, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through the next one. And so you end up with 4 loops on the hook, and then pull through all 4. And so this will help bring this together. Okay, so now you're just going to continue to single crochet along the edge, and you're going to do that with every corner, and I will join you up over here to show you how to kind of just weasel your way through that. And then we're going to have to do a double count on our counts to make sure it's an even number to make the rest of the cowl or turtleneck work. So I'm coming to where this is joined. I can see the colors, so I'm just going to kind of pull it down. And so I'm going to use, then I'm going to back out one more. I'm just making a judgment call. So we're going to just pull that together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a single crochet 3 together. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. Sorry, the studio door is open. And then I'm going to reach over and do that one. And we're going to pull all 3 together. And make sure, because this is the front, it stays relatively tight. And so you just brought it together like that. And then you're going to continue to do the rest of the round all the way to the back. And I'll see you there. So just make sure you put your 3 together. And I'll just do a count off camera to make sure that I have an even number. And as I mentioned, if you have an odd, just make sure that you just reduce by 1, but the single crochet 2 together somewhere along the back area of your cowl. So I'm coming around and I'm going to where I started. So I'm just going to slip stitch to the beginning single crochet right here. And then we're going to begin the next round. Now that I've gone all the way around and I've joined it, I'm going to follow the edge, count it, make sure it's an even number, and then I will adjust with a 2 together single crochet if I have to. So I have 69. That's clearly not an even number. So I'm going to the last 2 stitches, I'm going to put those together. So that kind of worked out right. and I'll make that a 2 together, a single crochet instead, and that'll eliminate 1 stitch and then rejoin again. So now I know it's an even number and I'm ready for the next round. We're now ready to move on. I need you to chain 2, will not count as a stitch, and in the same one of the join, I want you to half double crochet. And I want you to half double crochet all the way around. You don't gotta bother to count, just place 1 into each, and I'll see you at the end of the round. When I come back around, I'm just gonna join it to the first half double crochet. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our setup row for the remaining of the turtleneck. The remaining of the turtleneck is just this nice, easy, simple stitch, and it's gonna chain 2, and you're going to apply a front, half double crochet front post around the first one, and it's gonna be a relatively tight stitch. And then the next one is a back post half double crochet. So it's gonna keep everything nice and condensed, and you're gonna do that all the way around, and because you have an even number, you will end up perfectly at the end. I'll see you at the end of the round in just a moment. At the end of the round, you're just doing a back post half double crochet. Ignore the chain 2 that you see there and just slip stitch it to the beginning front post half double crochet. Now, the remaining of this is just the same thing that you just learned, and we'll just cover that one more time. I'll be right back. So from this spot that you see it jetting out to 4 inches tall is just the same stitch. You just start with chain 2. The chain 2 will follow straight up, and you were just going to apply then a front post half double crochet around the first, and then a back post half double crochet around the other one. And so this will maintain the ribbing, and you just keep alternating between the 2 stitches until you get to the height that you want. In the original, it's only 4 inches, which was suitable for my needs. But if you want it longer and to roll it down, you can do that. It's up to you. So please do this last round until you get to the height that you want, and then that will be it for today. I've now just completed my 4 inches, and now I'm not going to slip stitch to the top of the beginning on my final round because I want to use that technique I showed you on the last one when I finish off. So just pull it on through and then grab a tapestry needle and we are going to secure this into the first one using an invisible join. Now it actually helps if you feed the needle. There we go. So now I want to go into the top of the first half double crochet from back to front, and then I'm going to pull through. And when I pull, I want to make the distance of this pull the same distance of another thing. So I'm going to go down through where this is coming out of and go towards the back of the project, so the wrong side. Okay, and when I pull, I'm going to keep pulling until it looks like it's the same distance. Here we go. Now I'm going to turn it to the inside, and I'm going to work my way down, but I do not want to have this needle come out the front side. Okay, so I'm going to go down, and when I pull the first time, don't pull it so it changes the shape, but make sure you pull it enough that it keeps the distance looking the same. Split the fibers as I mentioned before. So just go in between the fibers, because frogging this stuff is not very fun. So I'm getting it stuck on the fibers is like a guarantee. So let's get that done, and we're going to trim, and I will put it onto the mannequin and show you what this finished version looks like. So this is the tutorial version. Got a little bit of airspace so I can breathe a bit. Goes right inside my jacket if I want to open it up. It looks like I'm wearing a sweater when I'm not. And this is the blue version, the tutorial version of my dickie. Okay, let me show you the other version. And here you have the prototype version. As you can see, fun, fabulous, goes under your jacket, and you're good to go, ready for a day out. And it will be pretty warm, just so you're aware. So maybe walking your dog or where it's cooler temperatures is definitely ideal. We hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye-bye.